We're now moving on to David Lightfoot, who is going to be talking about helping people to change. David, if you want to work on sharing your screen while I'm just introducing you. David is the Chief Operating Officer of Fusion Global Business Services, so it's 40 years experience in IT. And he's worked in lots of different countries, lots of experience, different customers. And in the past 10 years, he's been focused on IT services organizations. People are fundamental to everything he does, and he believes people are as important as any products or process. Right man for the job.
Okay. As I'm new to this, so presenting at BCS, so thank you for the opportunity. So a little bit where I work, because it puts in context what I'm talking about. So I work for Fusion Global Business Solutions. We deliver outcomes for BMC related customers with AI-powered service management operations. As of 2021, we'll deal with about 400 customers for various systems, 150 projects, 100 support contracts, and 30 managed services. Next slide, please, Simon. Our consultants are based Bulgaria, Czech Republic, India, Japan, Germany, Poland, UK, and US. Head office in London. Big BMC partner. And in terms of what people were saying, I was listening to the conversation earlier about where people are based and meeting up with people. The biggest change we've seen because of COVID is remote working. 50% of our work 2019 was on-site and requested on-site. Now we're seeing that to be 5%. Tends to be in secure areas as opposed to anything else. And the acceptance for consultants being from different locations working on delivery has greatly grown. It's very interesting for the people involved, and in some cases very cost effective for clients. So it's a massive change. So for me and the team I manage, about 110 people, where they're based is very, very different. Culture challenges are obviously different. Next slide, please, Simon. Right, so the past, what we certainly see with our business, you know, customers who needed a service purchased the solution, and with the solution was out of the box with limited change. Price was set by volume, data usage, and how a system could be used. And consultants delivered the solution to the users who purchased the service. That's very different to what happens nowadays. So the person asking for something, you were delivering straight to them. The customers received the service provided with limited input. So in some cases, IT decided what was needed for a business. IT pushed that to the business. Consultant delivery was very, very consistent. By that I mean one install was very much the same. An expert in a discipline, when we saw a lot of technical delivery, was very much the same from one project to another. Very different change. And there were service matter experts in this as well, in terms of fields, networks, software, and hardware. There still are today, but there is a subtle difference there. And consultants' career progression was really based on years within a chosen field. You became more senior based on your experience and what you've done. And we see that changing today. If you could press enter and sign. So the past, very much the consultant was talking to IT, and in the background you had IT management and the computer and the customers. And that's where a lot of it was up until a few years ago. Next one, Simon. Today, businesses and customers want outcome-based solutions. They're not talking about one technology. They're talking about several technologies. And the business is far more involved. And why this is relevant is because when you're a consultant, you need to have people around you with these various disciplines and have some understanding within a far greater field. People are not interested, as an example, in the area we work in they don't come to us and say, we want a ticketing solution for a service desk. What they want is a more efficient service desk. So that can actually mean that what people need today is the tool, it is the process, it is some history, reporting on what's gone in the past, and a customer's view. You know, and now the price is set by the effort, delivery, the outcome. People asked about short-term assignments. I saw on the chat and how it works. Yes, I see that more and more, that a customer wants something specific need for a set outcome in a short period of time. That opens the door up tremendously for the people I work with to contractors, because the unique skills aren't necessarily within the business. The sell is more to senior IT managers as part of an overall business, not necessarily the end user, which is a challenge. So quite often we're talking to an IT manager, and I think a lot of our consultants talk to the IT managers, and then we're talking to procurement, setting the price, but not necessarily the end user that will use the service. And that's a big gap. That's a gap that sometimes doesn't show itself until you have a kick-off or a workshop, or you actually meet the people down on the ground who are expecting to use the tool. And it's more than likely nowadays that on some of the bigger deliveries, more than one consultant with a different discipline will deliver the outcome. It is not just a consultant on their own. So having a network of people and having a basic understanding of some of the other disciplines, automation anywhere, in the same way as, you know, Mike talked about the tools and having a portfolio of tools, having an awareness of the area you're working in, which is bigger than the one you're the expert in, is very, very useful. There's still SMEs in the field, but not necessarily on their own. You know, in the environment I work and have worked for the last 15 years, I've seen people with 15, 20, 25 years experience in network and operations. Nowadays, on their own, they can't just deliver something. They quite often will have to interact with other people to get an outcome. And the customers we're dealing with, when I say we deal with 400 this year, they want an outcome. They're not looking for one magic trigger. And now, what I'm finding, certainly, and leading up to this presentation, I talked to a couple of colleagues in other environments. They're finding very much that consultants' progression is based on diversity and their ability to have a level of good collaboration with others. It's not just in a field. If you pick the right field, perfect. Cybersecurity, fantastic at the moment, very high profile. But a lot of others now need more than just that. So today's examples I put on there that what we're working with. US finance customer, they need a ticketing system which the customer accepts it as out of the box. But the ticketing solution is built from data, and they also want maturity assessment. They want us to run software to see what's gone wrong in the past, and they want a level of monitoring and automation. But their initial request was a ticketing solution. But if we'd have just done that, they would not have been happy, and our consultants would have failed. So the moment you're in there, we have the best tool, which is ears, and the best thing you can do is ask questions. It's just to clarify all the time, build that relationship. The customer feeling happy with the outcome, it means everything. You know, I see a lot of the tools people use statement of works where we say, we will deliver this to you within a period of time. In effect, what you want to do, you putting that nicely to one side, you want the customer, when you finish, to be happy. They'll ask you back, you get sticky with them, they are very, very impressed you're actually interested in their business. And it's not always what's written down. Quite often it's the fact that you've listened during the project. The third example on there is engineering, an engineering organisation. Standard service desk solution was purchased. But in fact, the wish for the customer and there was positive feedback, but the tool was just an enabler for what they wanted. Although they talked about having a tool, a service desk agent is not what they wanted at all. And when that was just delivered to them, it didn't help, because We don't always get it right. The consultants we engaged in the specific delivery didn't have the flexibility to necessarily listen to the client and to pick up the vibes that in fact they wanted something far bigger. You know, it says where benefits are not achieved on the left there. Organisational resistance to change. We will see that, and you will see that if you work as consultants, because the person that's bought something may not have communicated that to the people you'll be working with. And you could be stepping on toes, which we all do. So you could be stepping on toes of people that have maybe 15, 20 years experience in discipline, and the change will actually impact them. Unstable or unsuitable requirements, yes, very, very often we know that because they're at high level, and some people will write these things based on their experience as opposed to what a change could mean. Lack of business ownership. In most cases, there is always a project sponsor. There's always someone there, but it doesn't necessarily be there at a key time. You know, in the Prince 2 methodology and the other project methodologies people have touched on, there's always the statement around the project board that is there, and the project board's ability to sign off. Very, very few deliveries actually have that. They have a level of exact sponsorship, but that isn't there in a lot of cases. So I think our list is pretty valid, and you can read the things on there. Next one, please, Simon. So today we have the consultant, and you have the end users at the end, and the consultant is talking to senior IT managers and procurement. Happens in 99 times out of 100. What I've seen across 400 or 500 projects we've been involved in over the last 2 or 3 years. And what you want is to get to that end user. You can do that. The question I think was asked earlier around pre-sales, consultants engagement and pre-sales. I think consultancy can be pre-sales. Certainly I'm aware of a number of people charged for pre-sales consultancy. And getting to that end user is blocked in a lot of cases, and that's ideally what you want to get through. So even if you are dealing with the consultant and you're dealing with the senior management procurement, you have every right to ask and to try to clarify and say you need to talk to some other people. Because on the day one of your delivery, whether it's agile or project, quite likely those people you've been talking to won't be there. And you'll go to a workshop, and there'll be the head of payroll, there'll be the head of marketing who've been asked to attend a kickoff session on something that's new or a transformational program, and they may not have a lot of information on it. And then you get the levels of resistance that are built in. The next one, please, Simon. Consultancy change. Understand the customer's need and ask again and again. If either you or the customer cannot clarify, then the outcome will fail. A lot of time has to be spent up front, I think, by a consultant, not just going in to do something, in clarifying exactly what that customer expects to see. Even on the technical skills and things around cybersecurity and things around automation anywhere and automation tools, has to be clarified up front, not necessarily what's on paper. Try to get to the end user and work out what they want to do. Don't offer a solution without a proper balanced evaluation. We have, and I've seen a lot of organisations and some we deal with, which are a number of pre-sales people undertake evaluation, and pre-sales, as I said, we see as consultancy. Don't offer something straight away. If you need to go away and verify, then do. There is nothing worse than promising something up front as a consultant, and then it gets really, really difficult to deliver. Fixed price delivery comes with more risk. Time Materials offers you flexibility, and in fact offers the customer a level of flexibility. Not everything has to be boxed. Yes, there could be a cost for it, but I find on the bigger programs of work, although procurement, love a fixed price, the flexibility by T&M with the T&M delivery is far more palatable for everyone, because it opens up the door for flexibility. There's a couple of projects I'm involved with now that are 18-month projects. If they were rigid, then what is up started on month one, the ability to change that during that life cycle is very, very difficult. If it's T&M and more of an agile approach with a level of flexibility, then the outcome will be that much better for the customer. And I know we talk about rates, we talk about what people are earning. The end result for everyone that's beneficial is the customer's happy with the work, because they will remember you as a consultant, they remember who you came from, and 9 times out of 10 they will ask you back, and that's repetitive work, which is obviously very good for everyone. And as it says there, you will not be judged on what you sold, on what you do. You'll be judged on the customer's return on their investment. Higher up the chain, on any work you do, they will sit there in a meeting and talk about how that's worked. They will not actually talk about what you sold them. They will talk about the benefits to the business. Absolutely key nowadays. And consider the role of the business analyst. I see that increasing. I know there's a number of organisations that are specifically specialising in that, and that they are getting far more involved to the consultancy level across projects, because they have very good skills, very good academic skills to break down what a customer really wishes to achieve. Did used to be primarily, I think, around business analysis, around software development. I've seen this in a few organisations. Now it's seen far more in other areas, a lot more in around automation, whether it's UiPath or Automation Anywhere or Blue Prism. Any of those all have a higher level now of business analyst and business analyst consultancy within a lot of the projects. Next one, sorry. Always document the outcome, document what you're trying to achieve. Statement of work, very good tool. Very, very simple, concise, enables you to put in what you will do as a consultant and what you won't do, and the any caveats around that. It's always a good, very, very good basis to thrash that one through with the customer. And be prepared to embrace the change, and don't show frustration. I think the point was made by Simon around the pros and cons of consultancy. I think I chipped in. It's always a terrible shame when you're a consultant and you leave a good, successful delivery working with good people, but you run screaming to the door if it's a bad one. And I think actually having the right balance and being able to take changes in certainly helps you as a consultant. I've worked with a number where people are very rigid, and in the long run it doesn't work. Nowadays, we're dealing with business users and people that want a level of flexibility. They won't understand the IT, but they're seeing it from a business viewpoint. And then the consultant that will win, if it's a game, will be the one that listens and can adapt the project and adapt their delivery to pick up on that. As it says there, two very good charts: resistance to change and the trauma of change. In all projects and all consultancy will come across a number of people that don't wish to change because of how things have worked before. And that's one you have to work for with a level of empathy you don't want to miss, but you need to spend time sometimes with people on it, so that showing them empathy and understanding why they see that change as being quite difficult for them to accommodate. Could be history, could be what they've learned, or necessarily a bit of fear for the future. And there's a lot of that nowadays within the marketplace. There's a lot of change, a lot of volatility. I see a lot of jobs cropping up in IT, but other areas of our world with COVID are closing down. And some people are very nervous towards that change and don't take it well. And it costs minutes and sometimes a few hours to show a level of empathy, but not detract yourself from what you're there to do. But you have to build that relationship. I think that's the end. Unless there are any questions, Simon?
The chat's been very busy, although I'm not sure they were all talking about your particular points. Many of them were, but they, I think people are setting up their own WhatsApp group to discuss some of this stuff offline afterwards, which I guess is a good result, actually.
I think it's excellent. I mean, if people, this was a new experience for me to do this, but if people want to contact me afterwards or there's anything to ask, then please do. I was very interested in this initiative that was set off by Simon, and it's nothing to do with me being in the industry a long time. I think it's very good that we get together as a group and we can encourage each other and people can develop, because I think there's a lot of very big challenges, but there's a lot of very, very interesting work out there. And it's only good getting an exchange of views.
Alan, anything that you'd flag up from the questions? I saw you were actively in chat just now.
No, Simon, I don't think so. But it was quite an eclectic chat, so thanks very much for everybody that contributed. So, it's some interesting comments around pre-sales and change, how pre-sales work can make sure that or can help us to make sure that our assignments are actually set up well. But which I thought was quite interesting.
Well, as I said earlier, we will take a proper look at everything in chat later. It's been a great session. I've enjoyed that a lot. I do hope a lot of you found that interesting enough that you want to sign up for the next event. Basically, we've been trying to run these last Wednesday of each month. So block that out in your diary until October, and keep an eye on the BCS Consultancy Specialist Group website for the links to the third session onwards. The second session is already there for you to book. So please do sign up for that, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Thank you to Mike and David for their sessions as well. Thank you, audience, for being so participative. Love the stuff in the chat. It's been phenomenally good. And I won't possibly be able to rest now until I've studied all the chat and found out what you've been talking about while we were busily presenting away here. I just apologise, I can't actually read it all and talk to you at the same time. Don't have a big enough brain. So it's been great. Thank you very much. That's the end for today, and we'll see you in last Wednesday next month.